Gotta look at the. Hey, we're live. Good evening, ladies and menfolk. Welcome to episode 76 of Word Ninjas Live on this lovely not Wednesday. Not quite sure how we managed to mix up our days like that.
Because snow.
Because snow. And tonight, because technical difficulties. This is going to be really weird. I am running off of the two computer setup, but the computers are swapped because of sound issues, so this is just going to be awkward. We're still going to do a show regardless, because we make do with what we got.
As we do.
As we do. I probably have not mentioned, because as I do, I get distracted. This is the Word Ninjas live show. I am your instigator of literary and creative insanity. I don't know about productivity this week, considering how things have been going. But joining me... Oh, I gotta do it on that computer. Joining me... Oh, and it's out of order. Alright, going down the other row, because let's be different this week. This is weird. Joining me is Calvin.
Hello.
And Justin.
I, too, am here.
And Will.
Hello!
That's not his real voice.
It could be.
Nope.
We're going to see who rage quits out of this episode first, considering how things are going. Okay, we're good on that, theoretically. As I hit my mic, because it's right in my way.
We're professionals.
We're professionals that have to deal with professional difficulties. Because we're running multiple computers with multiple setups for multiple things. And
At multiple locations, even.
Yeah. So
In
when
multiple
something goes
states.
wonky, we roll with it.
The audience should be lucky they even get a podcast at this point.
Especially this week. Speaking of rolling with it, let's go into some talking points. We have two this week. The first one is actually not led by me. Hooray! The first one is all Will, so I'm going to toss it over to him.
Especially since I didn't know it was coming this week until yesterday, when I saw, oh look, I'm leading a talkie point. But that's okay. So, this came to mind. I watched some YouTubers, Let's Players on YouTube, and one of them I was watching, they were playing a game where there was not a lot going on, so they branched into conversation, and these two individuals, the Game Grumps, also write music on the side and do animations and a lot of their own thing. And they mentioned that a way that they use to keep up their productivity is a system they learned from Jerry Seinfeld, which is don't break the chain. And when they explained it, I thought this was a great technique that anyone who's trying to accomplish a big goal, like get out an album or gets like an art portfolio together or write a novel or pretty much anything creative, the don't break the chain method could be a useful way to help you maintain your productivity over a long period of time. From what I read and what they said, it was started by Jerry Seinfeld, he usually does these big shows once a year that are like, for a stand-up comedian, really long, and was asked, how do you get all the material for a show that long? And he basically said he writes one joke a day, and he gets one of those big year view calendars that show all 365 days, and every day he writes a joke, he puts a mark on the day. The next day he puts another X and another X, and it eventually forms a chain. And the objective is to don't break the chain, because if you break the chain, that's bad. And it creates this kind of mentality of you want to get through the year without breaking the chain, so every day you do something productive towards your goal. Like he wrote a joke every day. You could, if you're a songwriter, work on lyrics or do something towards writing a song every day. If you're trying to write a novel, do some work on your novel every day. And then every day you do that, you mark it on the calendar and you have that little visual representation. And of course, any day that you break the chain is this just big blank white spot of shame on your calendar, always reminding you of that day that you failed. And of course, they went into detail is that sometimes you do need a breather day, and those don't really, you don't want to overwork yourself. That's bad, but those are acceptable. But even if you're working on writing, even if you just write a sentence or work out the rough idea of a new idea for a chapter or something, that's progress. And that should count as a mark on your day. And it was an interesting visual way, I thought, of helping to maintain your productivity, especially over a long period of time.
What I find interesting about this is that it really plays into the whole, it's a lot harder to start something than to continue it, at least in my experience. Even just this week being a great example of the snowpocalypse of 2015, I haven't really done anything since then because that snowstorm basically broke all the chains. And I'm looking at the things I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow, or oh, I can start that on Monday or Sunday, or oh, I have this whole weekend ahead of me, I can start my stuff then. And then I'm like, oh, wait, isn't this what I was saying in December? I had to start all over again now psychologically, it seems, if I break the chain. Obviously there's breaking the chain hard, like what I did during the snowstorm. And then there's soft breaking the chain, like, oh, I have a wedding to go to, so I'm not going to do all this work now. So there's exceptions like that, but as long as you're mentally still in it, I think you're good to go.
Yeah. There are definitely acceptable reasons to break the chain, as if, life happens. There's obviously days where you just can't, but those are forgivable.
Right.
Like yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't work on the chain today because I was buried under 2 to 3 feet of snow.
And I broke the chain today because the podcast is on Thursday this week. I'm supposed to be doing squat reps instead of sitting in a chair. That's kind of like exercise, I guess.
You could do your squats while on the podcast.
Nope.
But yeah, it was just something I heard that I thought was interesting. You can go online and just Google search "Don't Break the Chain" and you can get a lot of different. There are websites and printouts that you can just for free print out just blank 365-day calendars and just make your own chain. That's
something that I'm going to be test running for myself because there's a lot of things on my. It's not really a little desk. It's an extra little space to put stuff in stacks. And that's my to-do pile, and it keeps growing. And there's 3 different piles now for different activities, and all of them are growing. I think they're replicating when I'm not looking.
I think you have a classic Grey Goose situation on your hands.
I was going to say tribbles.
So that's where all my quadrotriticale has been going. That explains a lot. But yeah, I've used stuff like Habit RPG and 750 words online with the mindset of don't break the chain in the past because it kind of incentivizes you not to break the chain because it gamifies things. And I cringe at using those words, and I'm surprised that Justin hasn't made fun of me for using them yet, but he was probably distracted from what it looks like.
No, the Habit RPG is probably the only appropriate use of the word gamify in any application.
So I'm not allowed to use it ever again in any other context?
That is literally correct.
Oh.
Challenge accepted.
I'll gamify your face if you ever say it again.
Don't break the chain. Find a new use for gamify every single day.
How about incentivize?
That's a real word. Fine. I don't have a problem
It's not
with
really used that often, though.
that. Yeah, that's true. I was going to have some witty retort, but I didn't have one. I'm tired. It's been a long week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Thursday, but I feel like it should be a Wednesday because we have our show. But I'm already at Thursday levels of energy.
Yes.
So it's throwing me off.
Desperately crawling towards Friday.
Yeah. The fact that my setup is basically a polar opposite of what I'm used to is just weird. I do not like not breaking the chain because I've swapped this around just to make it work.
I've made a casual agreement that I get to leave early from work on Podcast Wednesday, and because it's Thursday, I did not get to fulfill that task. And so I basically drove from work at 6 o'clock, did something really quick on my computer, and then came here. So I'm still coming off the work low.
And for whatever reason, I am not getting any updates on YouTube comments on the computer. It's not refreshing. It shows nothing has been posted, period. But on my phone, it's showing that we are getting comments, and Ed is being responsive to that. So
Thank you, Ed.
thank you, Ed, but
Whoop,
to any of our viewers who are commenting, I'm out of the loop now. I can't seem to do anything.
Good
Nice.
save.
CJ almost swore. Ooh.
I'm trying to see how long I can hold out on air. We're going to be in trouble if that ever ends up being a drinking game or of some sort.
But yeah, that was what I had learned about Don't Break the Chain. Thought it was fun sharing for people who are always looking for more different ways to try and stay productive and incentivized.
And for those of you out there that do use this method or try it out going forward, by all means, let us know what your perspective is on it. Post in the comments. Continue the conversations. And I can already see that Justin's going to try and surprise me with a curveball, but I'm staring right at the show notes as it live updates because my talkie point is next. And my talkie point is, why do readers associate and or connect with certain characters as strongly as they do? And that mainly came about because I strongly associate not only with my own characters, because they are somewhat aspects of myself, but I've noticed a trend amidst the shows that I really, really like, or really stuck with me. I tend to always remember the characters that get emotionally and psychologically manipulated, but seem to persevere despite that, even if they are the bumbling hero-type characters. Eventually they evolve, if it's a good show, but I mean, my examples were John Crichton from Farscape. He literally gets his mind torn apart, and yet he still manages to save the universe, as you do. Like Darian Fox from the sci-fi show Invisible Man, which was underappreciated for its time, but he goes crazy regularly whenever he uses his little invisible gland thing. Still manages to pull things off. Same with Stargate SG-1. Either Jack or Daniel, both of them have had their minds messed with more times than I can count or remember across like the 10 seasons they had. But they kept on coming back one time after another, even after they've died and resurrected and this and that, to the point where it was just getting a bit silly because they went past 10 seasons. And that happens. But it made me wonder how other people fare with associating with other characters out there in literature or television or movies and stuff like that. What do you connect with? Why do you connect to it? What sort of trends do you see out there?
So this actually brings up some weird thing that I have where,
Oh dear.
yeah. So I find the world is not fair, and I have a lot of anxiety about it sometimes.
Oh, so you're human after all.
Yeah. So I get it pretty bad every now and then, especially when very bad things happen, which I won't get into. But when I see characters who are good and trying to accomplish their goals or doing something, trying to add positivity to the world, and it doesn't work out and they get crapped all over by life, even if I know several seasons from now it will all work out in the end, at the time during the thing that I'm reading or watching, I just get extremely upset. A great example, I don't know if any of you watched The American Office consistently enough. But,
I used to on and off.
So there is an episode where they were doing some Yankee-style swap, where they're doing the gift exchange.
Mm.
And then, so Jim has set this whole thing up where he's going to kind of manipulate the game somewhat so that Pam gets his gift. And then, obviously, that does not work out. And I got visibly upset at the TV. Like, I don't know where the anger and the, obviously I was projecting somewhat. But I was just so upset, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch good people fail so miserably, so hard all the time. And I actually stopped watching The Office after that episode. I got highlights and stuff from internet sources and whatnot, and I think I might have watched some of the new Boss Roll-In episodes, but I just couldn't watch the show anymore. And I can't watch shows where the entire plot line is general guy who's good and does good things, and then bad things happen all the time, and no one cares. And that it just extremely frustrates me, and I can't. I relate to it too much, and I can't handle it. So that's my story on that. I think that relates somewhat to the question. What was the question?
I have it's the same reason I can't watch too much of Bob's Burgers in a row, because I noticed that happens to Bob a lot. And after watching more than 2 or 3 episodes of him just trying to do good by his family and his business and everyone just thwarting him and him not coming out on top at the end, I just go, okay, that's enough Bob's Burgers for a month.
Yeah,
before I really start connecting with this guy.
Right. It's extremely frustrating, and it's like, as opposed to a show like Archer, where bad things happen all the time, but then he, being a bumbling idiot, somehow gets through it anyways. That I can watch all the time. Dumb person that happens to have good things happen, I am fine with, for some reason.
Well, Archer is really not what you would consider the everyman.
No.
I think he's the exception to the rule.
I think his suave debonair style and his penchant for large amounts of alcohol I can relate to somewhat.
Yeah, there's parts of Archer I believe we can all relate to, but like
as a package, no.
Oh no, not as a package. But I think Archer is somebody we can't relate to, and for maybe that reason, like, we can all kind of root for him, because we want, like, I guess at some points we want, like, good things to happen to people, even if they're like suave bumbling idiots.
Right, and
so,
Archer's a character that doesn't necessarily mean any harm. Well, it depends who he's harming, but the general style of the Archer character is he's trying to do good on a global sense, and then sometimes he screws up and he's kind of a dick to certain people. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. We can't relate to him, and that's kind of the point, and that's why it's hilarious.
But yet we root for him anyway.
Yep.
Going back to the topic, this is a difficult question for me to answer after just finally reading Fuzzy Business 2. Because I was connecting to the main character, and the main character, I'm not going to spoil anything, but she goes through a lot of rough stuff in this book. And as going through that rough stuff, she's having very real person concerns. Like, there's a part where she's afraid she's going to get fired from her job, and her first worry is not, oh no, this mafia is going to be after me and there are these people that want me dead. It's, how am I going to pay my rent this month if I lose my job? That makes a character relatable when their concerns are like what my concerns would be.
Right, they're worldly concerns.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I enjoy reading a lot of fantasy and paranormal level plots, because they're not believable enough that I don't get that invested in the characters.
And there's, I'm not going to toot the Game of Thrones horn too much, but there's a character that I enjoy that I just know is going to die, because that's how it works. If you like a character, that character dies, usually immediately. This character has lived a lot longer than I thought, and I think the character has a little ways to go, but I think the character is ultimately going to die, and that greatly upsets me, because it's probably one of my favorite characters. And I don't even want to say who I think it is, because that's just going to foretold the prophecy, or as far as I know, I haven't read the books yet, so as far as I know, this character's already dead.
Most likely. Everyone dies in that series.
I find that the trick to not dying in Game of Thrones is to not love anyone or anything. Because as soon as you find love, that's usually when you get killed. Red Wedding aside, I think most of the other deaths are about love found and then getting shit on. I think Mr. Martin had some relationship issues growing up. And he's somewhat projecting in his writing.
I think a few of the deaths were also kind of tied to a sense of duty or something that you believe in or stand for. So if you actually care about anything, even conceptually, you're going to die.
Yeah, love of anything, not just another person, although that's 80% of it.
I know I read through a lot of R.A. Salvatore's Legacy of Drizzt, which I've talked about before, but I think the characters that stand out in my mind most, that I enjoyed reading about the most, are actually Artemis Entreri and Jarlaxle. I think part of the reason with Artemis Entreri was that he was that character who got thrown into the big story, and I've always liked these characters that they get thrown into this big plot against their will, and then they just go through it because they have to at this point, or every time they try to get out of it, something happens and they get pulled back in.
I think
that's also why I really liked Final Fantasy VIII, because the main character Squall was like, I don't want to be the leader. I don't want to save the world. Why am I stuck doing this again? Who made this decision?
It's also a great writing and storytelling mechanic where you have a lot that you want to convey to your reader or your audience, but you don't want to be so disgustingly blatant about it, and you don't want to have long periods of I'm blanking on the word, I'm tired. Exposition. To have a character that knows even less than you do have to go through it and react to it kind of helps play out that story in a more natural and more accepting way.
Right. I don't know, I just always liked that character. Like, Drizzt in the story is generally I have to do good, and if there are people in trouble, I have to help them, no matter what the cost. So you know, whatever he's getting into, it's because of his sense of morals. And Artemis Venturi has the opposite morals. He has, I'm going to do what I need to do to survive, and it's better to avoid big conflict. But wait, now I'm stuck in big conflict. When did I get stuck in this big war between dwarves and dark elves? I'm a human. Why am I here? I don't know why. There was something going around on Tumblr about some psychological analysis of why we connect to certain fictional characters over others, but I never actually read it.
I know I enjoy a lot of stories because a lot of the characters are relatable enough, or someone that I would probably be friends with, at least personality-wise, but they get to do all sorts of fantastical things in exceptional circumstances that I would never get to do, and considering some of the stories I would never want to do. I don't want to be in a horror or survival plot. I'll write about them, but I don't want to be part of one. But it's interesting to see characters that we would probably at least appreciate, do, and survive sometimes, or at least go through all of that, so we can kind of see what it would be like. Or we can shout at the book and say, no, don't do that, you're stupid.
Yeah, I also sometimes have a weird, like, underlying martyr complex that I control pretty well, I think, considering I haven't martyred myself. I'd say
Or
I'm doing
anyone
pretty
else.
well so far. But like you said, the character kind of doing what he has to do in the face of adversity is something that really appeals to me. And my bucket list is to be an extra in a movie where I either get hilariously or violently killed, or I'm just an extra where I'm literally just a corpse. I don't even have a story. Just corpse number 7 in this pile of corpses.
Well, whenever one of us gets our novels critically acclaimed and put into a movie, we can make that happen.
There was a challenge, semi-related, this could at least help fulfill Justin's bucket list.
Yes.
According to Back to the Future 2, Jaws 15, 16, something like that is supposed to come out this year. And of course, we're nowhere near that number, so someone put out a challenge for people to make fan films to catch up to that number. So we could always make a Jaws movie where Justin gets ripped apart by a shark.
That I could deal with that.
Onwards to Mystic Aquarium.
This is an animatronic shark, right? Sure it is, Justin. Get on in.
Look how realistic it is. We put a lot of effort into it.
Look, I'm holding this remote control and making the fins move.
So to all our viewers and listeners out there, post your response to this question in the comments below. Continue the conversations. I see that some of our live viewers already have been, and I'm sure Ed has been keeping up with it, because I've been getting plenty of notifications on my phone. It's just, there's like a 10-minute delay between when I see it and when I can actually respond to it on the phone, so it's not worth it. At least not at the moment. I'll catch up after the live show. And we have a surprise third topic from Justin.
Yep.
So
This just
take it away.
in. Super Bowl is apparently this weekend, and I had no idea until today.
What's so super about a bowl?
It's a thing that people do. They get together, and then they beat the crap out of each other, and then somebody wins eventually, I guess. And, you know, I would normally care more, but I've just got too many other things to do than to have to worry about the Super Bowl for several hours on Sunday. I'm not going out. I'm not hanging out with friends. I'm not drinking. This weekend is for productivity only. And I was wondering what other people will be doing, assuming instead of the Super Bowl, because I don't know how many of you care or got roped in or are trying to be social despite not caring about sports. Or maybe some of you love the Super Bowl and want the Seahawks to destroy the Patriots.
Oh, so that's who's playing.
Yes. So
The achievement hunters already determined yesterday that the Seahawks are going to beat the Patriots because for the
Wow.
past 3 years they've done a prediction game where they play Madden and pit the two teams against each other. The past 2 years they've been correct. So if the Seahawks win, this will be the third year in a row where they've accurately predicted the Super Bowl by playing a game of Madden. So you don't need to watch it. The Seahawks are going to win.
How
but my
much?
point spread. And we have an office pool, like squares,
Yep.
choosing squares on a grid. And I used to do it, and this year I said, I can't. I'm not going to do it because first of all, half the people that are on our work pool aren't even at work. They're fiancés or wives or children or friends or relatives, and I'm just like, maybe I'm butthurt because I haven't won ever in the 6 years I've been working there. That might have something to do with it. But I'm just so done with that. I didn't want to participate in the Super Bowl at all for any reason. And usually I'm all for hanging out and eating a ton of wings and drinking a buttload of beer. But this year I just have too many things to do. So I'm going to be productive.
The last Super Bowl I watched was at UHA in 1101 when everyone had a pound of boneless wings per person.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good day.
Why?
Because it's
Why
a
not?
pound of wings per
I once
person.
split a pound of wings with 3 other people and was full.
Yeah, but we had college appetites.
I was in college. I was freshman year.
I think we did that freshman year too. But that was at North Campus, so
Hey,
Yeah.
neither here nor there, but we should take a road trip to the hangar.
we keep meaning to do that. We just haven't pulled it off yet.
We
Oh,
should
I
do
can't.
that.
I can't do that anytime soon.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's celery. They have celery there.
I guess that'll work.
So
is
is any?
Nora's also off the list then for a while?
What's that?
Is Nora's still off the list then as well?
Yep.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Then again, that
Hey, guys,
gives her
let's-
time to go away and come back again.
What's that?
That gives Nora's time to go away and then come back again. Sorry, Justin, you were saying?
I was saying, all right, it's Will's turn to say something that will make Calvin sad. Go.
I have nothing that'll make Calvin sad.
Hooray!
I can
I
make
do,
Calvin
but I already
sad.
went.
Last 2 episodes of Wolf's Rain.
No.
There you go.
I
Mm,
just made him sad for different reasons.
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in I don't even know how long. The last time I watched it was a couple years ago, and all we actually watched was the halftime show. We didn't actually watch the game.
I also don't have TV, which is a problem.
Yeah, I don't
Actually,
have
it's
any.
not a problem.
Hmm.
It's very nice not having TV.
I
I
don't
have a
television.
TV.
So I'll probably do my normal thing that I do on the weekends, writing, and I'm going to try and record more gameplay. Don't break the chain.
What day is that? That's a Sunday, isn't it?
Usually.
Yes, CJ, it's on a Sunday.
I'm a NASCAR person. I don't care about your footballs.
You just made everything so much worse.
My job here is done.
You and Dick Trickle can go hang out at the bar.
Well, in that case, if Sunday is going to be a productivity day, here is which screen am I looking at?
No, you're good. Stop. Perfect.
Here's my pile of books that I need to review, at least the physical copies. I'm ignoring the ebook ones that I've read because no. If I have the time, I'll do like a Goodreads or Amazon review of those because that's easy enough to type up. But the recordings.
I feel like these book reviews are going to turn into book marathon postmortems. Like, I'm going to review all 6 books in this one article. Meh, pretty good. Read the sequel.
I did that.
Did I read this book? Are you sure? Dustin, did I read it? You watched me read it. You say you gave it to me. Okay, well, I don't remember any of this. I feel like that's just how that's going to go down.
I did that with a 9-book series where I just did a whole sprint of reviewing them like 3 in one night, but then I posted 1 per day. That was a damn good series, too. But yeah, I'm not watching the Super Bowl. I don't even remember the last time I turned the TV on.
My computer's hooked up to my TV, so technically I turn it on constantly.
I do technically have cable, it's just there's nothing that interests me.
I turned it on to watch YouTube and Hulu.
Yeah. I use the Xbox
Same here.
to play Crunchyroll and YouTube.
Yeah, I got a Chromecast on my TV, so I've been watching nothing but like Crunchyroll and Achievement Hunters lately. Will I be watching the Super Bowl? Part of me wants to, but most likely I'm going to be staying home, and I can't really enjoy the splendors that go along with watching the Super Bowl. So
You can
I don't know.
pray for a Katy Perry wardrobe malfunction, I guess.
I'll wait for the replay on the internet.
Smart.
So it's a maybe for me.
And of course, to the viewers and listeners, post in the comments if you are watching it, if you have any Super Bowl traditions, or if you ignore it, as we are, etc., etc. 5-minute sideline, since it's not 8 o'clock yet, but has anyone here noticed the press releases and notifications from, it's not Adult Swim, but Toonami? They changed their lineup and are cutting back like 2 hours worth of content. Yeah, and everyone's upset about it.
Wonder what prompted this.
Probably management.
Ratings, money, advertisements, target demographics, politics,
Seems like
digital rights
Toonami.
management.
Yeah, it seems like Toonami isn't really an afternoon/evening thing anymore. It's more like in the midnight to early morning block, from what I read. That seems more like Adult Swim time.
Yeah, they because like so many people requested bringing Toonami back, they decided to put Toonami in the Saturday evening/overnight slot.
Toonami, the bumpers between shows, there's a robot involved, right?
Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Seem to vaguely remember that. It's been a while.
He's gone through a half dozen upgrades/changes throughout his life. Some of them
Much
a little
like the Super Bowl robot.
more awkward than others.
Let's see if anybody remembers who the original virtual host of Toonami was. Anybody?
I know that there was one, and I remember watching it. Ah.
Stephen Blum.
Nope. No, it was before him.
I don't think I watched it back then.
It was Moltar from Space Ghost.
Oh God.
Now
I was going to say something about Space Ghost, but I couldn't remember. That's pretty funny. There's some deep-rooted memory in the back of my head that I was trying to crawl out.
Don't you dare. Hey! Okay then.
Toonami was a good part of my childhood.
I think
did
for a
make
lot
me
of people.
It made me feel good seeing that they brought it back, even though it's in like the graveyard shift of Saturday night programming.
Seems like they're pulling a lot of the current animes from that 2-hour block that they're losing. Although one of them was Attack on Titan, which is just an infinite repeats because they never really get new episodes. I just thought it was interesting that they are making such sweeping changes, considering Toonami was such a fantastic thing and actually had pretty good shows once upon a time. But even the mighty fall eventually. Probably because the people who used to watch it back then aren't necessarily up on Saturday evenings to watch all that stuff again. At least I'm not.
And the ones that are probably a lot of cable cutters as well.
Oh yeah, that's why I was thinking about it. There was also another press release tied into that with Nickelodeon saying that they're actually going to start providing an online subscription service of some sort, which is intriguing, but they're figuring out the naming stuff next month, so I can only imagine how it's all going to go downhill.
Love to watch reruns of old Nickelodeon episode shows. There's so many.
Like if they have like a vault of the old '90s Nickelodeon shows, then it might be worth it. Other than that, I'm not really sure.
They need a 90s version of the Boomerang channel. That would be nice.
Yes.
Just do one channel per decade.
Oh, how great would that be?
Extremely great.
Come on, content providers, get on that. Alright, that was over 5 minutes, I think. Because I forgot when I started that. No, that was exactly 5 minutes. Never mind, I'm good.
And now
Well
it's
done.
over 5 minutes because of that spiel.
Damn it! And there's my swear. I almost made it a whole hour.
Now I have to mark it as explicit. Thanks a lot.
I just mark all of them a bit as explicit at this
Smart.
point. It's just easier that way. Alright, with that, it's on to the highlights reel. So, let's see. That one. So for our viewers, we are now... Oh, wrong tab. We are now screen sharing... No, there's the tab. Highlights. Our publisher for this week is called Fox Chapel Publishing. And this one is intriguing because they have a lot of workbooks. And not like writing workbooks where you would like do character creation or anything like that. It's more like small wood turning projects and pen turner's workbook, which really intrigued me because you can never have too many pens, even though Ed might disagree in like 5 minutes when he actually sees this. But I mean, they have all sorts of woodworking, crafts. I have no idea what Zentangle is, but apparently that's a thing. Is that beads? What is that?
No clue.
Is
Well,
it like that app that you have a thing that you wrap string around? Probably not.
Zentangle has become an international phenomenon, attracting individuals from all walks of life.
Unlikely.
Read
It's rated
more,
R.
tell me what
Wow.
it is. New art form by presenting some of its most blah de blah. State of the art entangling today. What? What
are you
is
talking
this?
about?
What is this thing?
I'm gonna Google through it.
The book examines a broad range of creating tangling applications from classic tile art to origami, jewelry, card making, decor, quilting, ceramics, and more. Okay. I have no idea what that means. I am confused. But yeah, apparently the publisher publishes this, whatever this is. And I mean more understandable stuff like wood carving, whittling, and all sorts of designs and stuff. So a lot of crafty books, which I'm interested in, even though I'm primarily a writer. I like to do things with my hands. That sounded better in my head. Not on the home page. They also do art and drawing, which is nice. Home and garden, sports and outdoor, don't care. Cooking, metalworking.
Ooh.
What sort of metalworking stuff do they have?
I do need to make that suit of armor.
Lathe work, welding, milling, mini lathe.
Ooh. For your pen turning needs.
Ooh, custom knife making.
Hmm.
I had a friend who did
Very
that.
cool. But yeah, thought I'd toss in a somewhat different publisher for this week's episode, seeing as we tend to go for the more novel-length stuff. Let's change it up every once in a while. And the next one up is a Tumblr page called Slush Pile Hell. One grumpy literary agent and a sea of query fails. Because eventually, most of us get a piece relatively finished to the point where we want to submit it and query it, but querying is a whole different beast from writing a novel. And it's useful to see how some people try and mostly fail in this respect on this Tumblr, but it also helps you understand what people are looking, what publishers are looking for, what agents are looking for, how to go about phrasing a lot of it, what you actually need to put in, what you should skip.
Have we talked about this site on the podcast before? Or is there a
Yeah,
similar site?
I think we did Query Agent. We've done a querying page, but I don't think it was
Yeah,
this
Slush Pile Hell doesn't ring a bell, but the query.
Slush Pile does, but not Slush Pile Hell.
Hmm.
Maybe it's just me.
Quick, someone watch all of the 75 episodes before this one and find out what we talked about.
Are there more episodes of Breaking Bad or of the Word Ninjas podcast?
I don't know. I haven't seen a single episode of that yet.
You don't watch your own
Episodes tend to be
show?
longer. Much to Justin's dismay.
I didn't hear Justin's upset commentary to me.
It was a joke, so it's come and passed, but I yelled out, "What, you don't watch your own show?"
No.
And that was supposed to be funny, but then I spoke over Will. And
Sorry, I ruined
no,
the
it's my
joke.
fault.
I don't want to watch myself. I look weird.
I sound weird.
I've been informed I sound disembodied.
Well, at the moment, I don't have a single screen with your face on it, so you are disembodied to me. Oh, I skipped the URLs for each of these because I'm clever like that. It's pretty basic. Fox Chapel Publishing is foxchapelpublishing.com, and it's Chapel, C-H-A-P-L. And then Slush Pile Hell is just slushpilehell.tumblr.com for our audio listeners out there, because I have been chastised for not adding such commentary for the audio stream. So to our future audio listeners, I am sorry. No, we're not doing that yet. Spoilers. Okay. And then we take ourselves off of the screen share from that computer, look back to the other computer, migrate to the next segment because we need to keep the show rolling. Hey, productivity highs and lows. Surprisingly, snow is not on everyone's list, but it is on mine. I only got 7 inches or so of snow to shovel, which I'm thankful for, because I don't like shoveling. But that really threw a wrench into a lot of plans, because I was hoping to do a lot of stuff on the snow day, but then I needed to shovel stuff.
Also, the driving ban didn't help.
Yeah, that kind of threw things off as well. Although it was worth having a driving ban so that stupid people didn't go out and do stupid things.
Despite the
traffic.
driving ban, before 9 a.m., there were 11 recorded accidents. Can you imagine how many accidents there would have been if there wasn't a driving ban?
That's my mindset.
Hundreds.
I mean, around here, it really was only 7 to 9 inches in our area, but elsewhere it was obviously pretty worse, so I can only imagine what people with four-wheel drive and all-weather tires would really do out there, other than drive into a ditch. Let's see, my other productivity stuffs were forcing myself to acknowledge progress in the face of various complications. Because sometimes I lose sight of the forest for the trees, and I need to remind myself that there is a proverbial forest amidst all the trees. And that actually got me going to do stuff even when I really didn't want to. And kind of tied into that, but more of a slow burn, I'm taking steps towards getting a handle on my stress levels. It's something that I did not think I would have to do ever again, but it's something that I'm doing probably next month. Oh, next month is next week. Probably in March at this rate. And I'm not going to be any more declarative than that because I don't wanna. So onwards to Will.
That's me. So I got to shovel about 1.5 feet of snow, which is more than what CJ had to shovel. So
You
that was,
win.
that was fun. That took some time getting the car out and finding it. Pet Cat Marcus got to have fun in the snow, whether he liked it or not. But productivity-wise, that's a low. But I did kick my butt into gear to try and get motivated, figuring out how to do more things. I think I want to get into actually recording. I got software to edit videos for the most part decently, so I can make my own little videos for the channel, and I'm going to try and do that every day. Definitely starting in February at least. I'm just going to need to figure out more games and also figure out a way for myself to do book reviews. I have theories on that as well. We'll see how it goes. More as it develops. And I just finished Fuzzy Business 2. About time. I should have finished it a while ago, but I will confess there were topics in there that were hardish to read. There's some hate crimes involved in Fuzzy Business 2 that it's just, for me personally, I have trouble reading that, but plowing through it, things come full circle, or I hope so eventually, because Fuzzy Business 2 ended on a cliffhanger. So it'll hopefully come full circle in Fuzzy Business 3 when it comes out, and I get my hands on it, and I want it and gimme now.
It would be fantastic if it came out in time for Inconceivable too.
If Amelia is there, and she has it, I am buying it. Those are my highs and lows.
And that means it's Justin's turn.
So, before I get into my highs and lows,
Oh dear.
how many F words am I allowed?
I
And
haven't
can
used
I-
any yet, so you can use the entire quota.
Okay, and am I allowed to flip off the camera directly?
So long as you don't show nudity or provide any hate speech, I think YouTube doesn't mind.
I hate the snow. That might not count. All right, well, I had a super high during the week of the snowpocalypse because I bought a snowblower. Fuck yeah. It's a motherfucking high, and fuck you, snow. I ate that shit for breakfast, in that I took snowballs and literally ate them. And then pissed all over them, and then ate them again. So yes, fuck snow. My snowblower is fucking awesome, and so is my all-wheel drive car. Because to use a snowblower, I had to go a little creatively off-roading to get my car out of the driveway. And then when I went to Will's house to get some stuff, I also almost collapsed his leach field and his septic tank because I drove on the wrong part of his entrance, and I drove on the non-road part.
Oh no.
The road part.
That beats my driving over their bucket.
That was pretty hilarious. So let's see. So that's a high, like I said. I tested out Shadowplay and started configuring Skyrim, ENB, and all the high-res mods and stuff. Right before the podcast, fired it up. A couple things didn't work, but overall the thing looks amazing. I think I can troubleshoot a little bit. I still got a nice frame rate. The red saturation's a little high. I got to play with that. But overall, it's looking good. I'm looking forward to attempting to tell Shadowplay to also record that at 1080-30 or 1080-60. Because vanilla Skyrim, I was getting 60 frames a second while recording at 1080-60.
Nice.
So that's
Nice.
pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to get that doing ENB. But we'll see.
Man, our channel is going to love our polar opposite styles, considering I'm going to be doing a lot of the old id and Apogee games, and even some of the newer games, but at the absolute lowest settings, just to show what the worst settings imaginable actually are.
That's actually pretty funny. You should play Doom 3 on the lowest settings. It is horrendously bad.
I've been meaning to play Doom 3. I have it. And
It's
maybe at the lowest settings I could actually handle it.
And the third thing, which is a low, I'd like to blame this fully on the snow, but it's really not the snow's fault. It's mostly my fault. I didn't do jack shit all week. Nothing. I didn't do anything at all, and I feel really bad about it. But I'm going to use that that shame and misery as a springboard to have a really productive week this week. And me staying home and not hanging out at the Super Bowl parties is going to help facilitate that.
And how did Calvin fare this last week?
Let's see, what did I do? I edited and coded a whole bunch of the things, so that's I consider that a high.
Some of which are already on our channel.
Let's see, purchased Bandicam, so I can properly record gaming and raging simultaneously. That's going to be exciting. I'm really enjoying how nicely Bandicam works with my computer and just how it works, period. And my low for this week and for the last couple of weeks, it's medication that I've been taking has been derailing my productivity and life in general. Well, to be fair, this medical condition has been derailing life pretty nicely as well.
Medical conditions are very good at doing that, unfortunately.
Fortunately, this one doesn't go away very easily. So I'm kind of stuck with this one. Yeah, I might as well say it is diabetes. I got the beatus. Found it out last week. It sucks.
But at least it is manageable and treatable.
Yeah. I'm gonna be I'm kind of restricted on what I can eat for next several weeks, possibly months, depending on what the doctors say once I go back for my checkup. But if there's any plus sides to this, this dietary restriction and my semi being forced to exercise to help regulate my blood sugar, I'm going to be trimming down pretty nicely by like March, April. So I guess I can live with that.
I'm looking forward to the new ripped Calvin.
Me too, actually. I'm actually going to take advantage of my gym membership.
Smart.
I'm not going to tell you how long ago I joined the gym. Actually, I have a whole story about that, but that's for another podcast.
Let's have that as a topic next week because I too have a story about gym memberships.
Nice.
And money down the drain.
Use the submission form, otherwise it won't happen.
Okay.
Because one of us will forget.
Do what now?
Use the submission form for the podcast topic idea. That's what the submission form is for, so that we remember that we have topic ideas.
I don't know what you're talking about, so let's move on.
All right. Weekly inspiration. My inspiration has actually been failed opportunities in character-centric interactive novels and other stuff like dating sims and RPGs and other stuff. Because I have a whole slew of them in my Steam library, and I've actually been playing around with some of them. And there's great opportunities in a lot of them to actually do stuff with your characters, make them relatable, believable, worth caring about. Even opportunities to show character growth, even in limited space, as it were, for certain games. But a lot of games just don't do it because it's cheap not to. And it just made me a little more self-aware of that. Especially since one of them actually got voice acting for all of the characters. That's not cheap.
Wow.
But there's no character growth.
Oh.
And it's actually incredibly annoying. Then again, it's a relatively stupid game after all is said and done. So yeah, that is my inspiration. How about Will's?
Inspiration, other than kicking myself in the butt and getting kicked in the butt. More new characters. Always more characters. Always more voices in the head. Always why more? Not up to story for them yet they develop in brain when I don't want them. But there they are. Yay! It's motivation to finish what I have so I can tell their story next.
And how about Justin?
So it's interesting. The weekly inspiration I wrote down is not actually true. That didn't happen,
You liar.
and I don't know what's going on. I don't even remember writing that. But I think what happened was I wasn't inspired at all this week, so that was a joke answer. But at the last second, I did get inspired by something. Just kind of walking around, I was thinking about, so I was doing a visualization of myself. So I was like doing like not really an out-of-body experience type of thing, but like trying to visualize myself doing the things I'm supposed to be doing. And then I had like a voiceover in the back of my head going off, and some music cues, and different cinematography and nice shots and good lighting. And I was like, hey, I could actually throw up a camera and actually do these things that I'm thinking about in my head and sharing them with people. Maybe it would be interesting. Maybe it would be horrible. But if I'm going to do the things anyways, why not shove a camera in it and then put it to a sweet soundtrack that would be instantly banned on YouTube for copyright infringement? So that's my real weekly inspiration, not the fake one that I put in the show notes. But find out what I put in the fake show notes, because I'm sure that's the version that is going to go online.
Yeah, that's what's already up.
So check out some behind-the-scenes Easter eggs in the show notes.
And how about Z Calvin?
Weekly inspiration is postponed for me this week due to health reasons.
Fair enough.
Inspired to get jacked. That's swole as shit. That's pretty inspirational. I'm inspired.
We can talk about that next week. That'll be my inspiration next week.
Perfect.
All right, with that, it is time for Muse Food. So, back to this one, then move the tab over, do the thing with the other thing. Each week we provide various creative prompts, from one-liners to one-worders to a combination of Rory's story cubes to musical prompts and artistic prompts. And as with each week, everyone gets a turn with one of these segments.
All right.
I'll take the one-liners. Haven't done them in a while.
Okay.
I'll take a stab at the story cubes.
I'll hilariously do the music notes again for the listener's pleasure. See if I've learned anything.
And I'll take the rest.
All right. So, our one-line writing prompts for this week are, I'm sorry. What are you up to for Friday night? We are in so much trouble. Get in the river! I'm getting that oasis, and you're not invited. When crystal objects are ordering you around, it's time to get help. This is why I don't turn on the television. You're definitely the mother in this relationship. Tune out the world and everything around you brightens up and gets more colorful. My muse wants to murder you with these knitting needles. Stop tempting her. And those are our one-line writing prompts for this week.
As for the one-word writing prompts, we have campy. I'm not quite sure if that's an actual word or not.
It is.
Yes.
Nah, I don't like it. That'll do.
Think about film.
I know it's used
Speaking
as
of
a
Battleship.
verb.
That was one campy movie.
I liked that movie.
No, you didn't.
I liked that movie as a movie, not as an actual representation of the board game.
I disagree
No.
with your opinion, so I'm going to replace it with my own. This is now your opinion.
Oh. The other words are ringer, fresh, treatment, heartburn, monkey, crystal, ledge, and flat.
All right. Story cubes for this week are something to the extent of somebody enthusiastically digging a hole, somebody counting their change, a matchstick burning a piece of paper, a ladder, someone nervously peering through a doorway, a question mark, someone with a gift in their hand, a clock showing 4 o'clock, and what looks like a rocket ship crash landing on a planet or somewhere. I'm guessing it's a random planet because I see a ringed planet in the background. So there you have it.
I like this set. We've gotten some cubes that I've never seen before.
We'd
Yeah.
have a lot more cubes that we haven't seen before if they'd update the stupid app. They've only been in the store ready to be purchased for over a year now. Not interested. Don't want my money. That's fine. They don't get my money. I'll make my own cubes. Blackjack and hookers.
Add to your collection. Expand your stories by adding more cubes to your collection. Clues, coming soon. Enchanted, coming soon. Prehistoria, Coming soon.
No, that's a year and a half is not soon. I'm gonna write an angry letter. That's it. I can't take this anymore.
Oh man, and the enchanted one has an image of a wolf howling at the moon. I want it.
You can't have it.
But I want it.
No.
It's such a mean image to tease us with. Okay.
The less angry musical prompts for today. And I'm going to actually be looking at the letters. Over time, I'm going to cover up the letters so I can try to learn how to read music via the podcast. But from what I understand now is we've got a quarter note E situation. Quarter note A, quarter note B, quarter note A, and whole note G.
Correct.
Very
Yes. I did it. I totally didn't cheat and open up a new tab trying to figure out which one was a quarter note and which one was a whole note. Nope.
Next time I'm going to put it in bass clef just to throw you off.
No.
good.
Then you're going to start adding sharps and...
We
other
can do
things.
that if you want.
An A sharp and a B flat, the same note. What? Doesn't even make any sense.
It does if you think about it.
I know.
Mhm. And the artistic prompt for this week is Anthill. Not quite sure who submitted that one, because I don't think it was me. Because that one bothers me.
You sure are making a mole out of this anthill.
Maybe that was me. Maybe I was trying to be clever, because I know I'd upset myself.
Mission accomplished. Nailed it.
Those are your creative prompts for this week. As always, if you create anything from these prompts, we would like to see it. You
Oops.
can send us a copy or the URL where we can check it out via email. Our email address is wordninja@fcwriters.com, conveniently located at the bottom of each page of the PDF. And then take it off of that one.
No.
What did you do?
Oh, I wasn't on mute. Whoops. Well, I dropped a pile of rare earth magnets onto the metal desk legs.
Oh,
I apologize.
Better than dropping it onto a computer?
Yeah, that would be better.
Okay, as for events, there are several coming up this year that we're trying to coordinate. The closest one at the moment is Book Expo in May. Still waiting on that press logistics page to update so we can submit. Still waiting. And of course, the big one for the year is our main one, Kineticon in July in Hartford, Connecticut. We are confirmed as vendors, and we have submitted for press. We're just waiting to hear back. Oh dear, I hear Skype updates. I'm sure Ed is commenting on something. There are a few other events in the mix for this year that we're still trying to coordinate. They're all in the show notes for each episode, so if you're curious where we're going to be, you can track us down that way. If you want us to show up for certain events or you want us invited to events, talk to the event coordinators, tell them, hey, there's this really cool podcast or this really cool company that makes all sorts of shiny baubles. We want them to come to this event. Let them know, because if they see interest, then they're more interested in getting people there. And conventions are fun. I know I at least like going to them. Especially more so if we're invited, rather than just barging our way in and showing up.
barging is always fun. Exciting, at least.
True. Especially since there are 5 of us, so half the time we can outnumber the staff.
There you go.
And hey, what do you know? It's only 8:24. We're going to make the 1.5 hour mark. and wrap up the show.
Not if you
Probably-
keep vamping like that.
Probably still on time, more or less, kind of, sort of, in regards to what Justin wants a podcast
I'm
length
sure we
to
can find
be.
something to talk about for half an hour.
To be fair, we did start like 5 minutes late. So
Which is
we're
on
still,
time for us.
we're still well under the mark. But let's keep it rolling.
Are you sure? I mean, we can go back and forth. Let's see here. As always, if we entertained you in any way, shape, or form, please subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch, comment, and thumbs up all of our various videos. We have all 76 episodes minus 2 because of technical shenanigans in the archives there. Yeah. We have a couple series that we're still figuring out the naming conventions for, where we're playing various games or failing at various games. A little bit of everything. We have a growing collection of crew shenanigans. I actually need to, one of us needs to get on that and properly tag some of the crew shenanigans that are not in the crew shenanigan playlist so that they show up in the right areas. How many from the last convention are on there now? There's the handwriting one, and I think that's it so far.
Everything else is ready for rendering. I just need a timetable as to when I should post them.
We can talk about that off air so that viewers don't get spoilers.
No problem. But you guys are gonna like these videos.
Yeah. But in the meantime, while you wait, there is a video up from the last convention that we went to, Your Minicon. I was trying to remember it, where we did a handwriting challenge, and 4 out of 5 of us participated. So you should check it out and vote to say who has the best handwriting. And I know that Will got an episode posted up today, possibly even, of
Yep, this morning.
Orcs Must Die, if I remember correctly.
Correct. I attempt to get the tunnel vision achievement.
Tune in and watch it to find out if he gets it or not, and how.
Also, if you want to just watch orcs fly helplessly through the air repeatedly down flights of stairs.
It
They
is
never
always-
fall into any sort of traps or anything, do they?
There may be some lava involved.
Mm. Done
Yeah, that is one of the best places to check out all of our video shenanigans and stuff that we do. If you want to talk to us via social media, our Twitter account is @FCWordNinja. Bonus points if you use the hashtag WordNinjas. You can talk to us on Tumblr, fcwordninja.tumblr.com. Facebook is facebook.com/fullcoveragewriters. Converse with us. Talk to us. We enjoy discussing things with our viewers and listeners. If you want to help support all of these crazy shenanigans and endeavors, peruse our Etsy store, which is etsy.com/shop/fullcoveragewriters. And Ed is the main coordinator for all the shiny baubles on there, from the bookmarks to the buttons to the books to everything else that he sneaks on there when I'm not looking.
All hail the shopmaster.
Yes. And as always, this podcast and everything else that we do is currently brought to you by Full Coverage Writers, which is the website, a repository of resources for writers, and a full archive of all of the podcasts, all of the news, food, all of the interviews, everything that we do that is literary and entertaining. To find that website, if we haven't mentioned it enough already in the last hour and a half, it is fcwriters.com. Go take a look. It is most entertaining, I promise you. And with that, it is time to slowly, over over the next 30 minutes sign out with everyone saying where they can be found on the internet. And sadly, our audio listeners do not see Justin's response.
Thankfully, the audio listeners do not see my response.
But as for myself, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I am Charles, your instigator of literary insanity. No productivity. You can track me down on my personal Tumblr, which is just fancypantswolf.tumblr.com. Starting next week, since it's next month, my literary Tumblr, which is slashandburntrilogy.tumblr.com, is going to start kicking up a lot as I write my first draft again for like the 13th time. But a novel 10 years in the making. I'm going to be doing a proper draft this time round now that I know what I'm doing. You can also track me down on the Fairy Tale Podcast Monday nights as Makarov on their YouTube channel, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And all other forms of contact for myself are on the About Us page over at fcwriters.com. Where can people find Will?
You can mostly find me on my Tumblr pages. I have a page for My Roommate's a Stripper, my current writing project in progress. Yeah. It's at myroommatesastripper.tumblr.com. It is not safe for work 18+ story, so be wary of that. You can also find me on my personal Tumblr page at darkhom.tumblr.com, DARKHOM if you need the spelling.
And how about Justin?
Well, I've decided since I haven't finished the websites yet, which I was supposed to do last weekend, I'm not allowed to promote them because they are not ready yet. So instead, I'm going to talk about how when I went bowling last week, I found a sweet Leatherman keychain on the ground. And as you were vamping and talking about not dragging the show on longer, I thought I would talk about these briefly because I was cutting my thumbnail with the scissors attachment, and then it dawned on me, what are the other attachments on this thing? Well, there's a file, and there's a pair of tweezers, and oh, this isn't really a keychain tool. This is more of a manicure, pedicure keychain. But still awesome, so I'm happy about that.
I approve.
Let's talk about that for half an hour.
It does have a knife, so there's that. A really tiny letter opener knife. Stab, stab, stab.
And rounding out the show for the next 28 minutes is Calvin.
No.
So the other day, no. Let's see. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ccwii. You can find me on Tumblr, instacal.tumblr.com, and you can also find me on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/soundsbycalvin. And that's it.
Sorry, I got distracted by cubes. And with that, that rounds out episode 76 of Word Ninjas Live. Tune in next Wednesday, and it better frickin' be Wednesday, for episode 78, where we have our first interview of 2015.
Woohoo! Oh.
Yes, I'm excited for that. And it's actually going to be a two-parter, no less. So it's going to be spanning 2 episodes. So definitely...
You sure you don't want to do one really long episode?
We could, potentially,
That was
but...
a joke. Please don't take that seriously.
I mean,
No.
YouTube lets you stream for 8 hours straight now.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I'm sure Richie would love that episode.
No, we're going to need a Kickstarter before we do some sort of weird marathon thing.
How about 2 weeks of 8 hours each?
Nope.
Ooh.
All right, with that...
24-hour podcast marathon.
Mm.
Well, that would be, what, only 3 episodes of 8 hours each.
I think the current podcast marathon record is like 56 hours or something.
Let's break it.
I mean, 1 8-hour episode per member. We have 6 members. We
But
can
it was a
make that happen.
continuous podcast, and the stream never went down. So,
We can have like a 5-minute overlap between episodes.
oh, sort of like when you play songs and you have a crossfade.
Yeah.
Smart.
And we can have interstitials and all that other good stuff.
Mm-hmm. We can drag this podcast on for another 20 minutes.
I
Mhm.
don't see why not.
I mean, we're all here, right?
Yeah.
Let's just do our after-show banter, but do it live on the air. Man, my wife is such a... Wait, oh, we're still on the air. She's a lovely lady.